Okay, so let me just share my screen. And first of all, let me just tell you. So basically, this Salesforce CRM Analytics, at presently we know it as Salesforce CRM Analytics, and earlier it was known as Salesforce Tableau CRM. Just a few months back, when it acquired the Tableau, and very popularly, it is known as Salesforce Einstein Analytics. So it's a data analytics tool basically, and you can play around with the data over here. Okay, so you can extract the data, transform and load the data in the form of dashboards. So that is what is the Salesforce Tableau CRM or Einstein Analytics, or currently it's known as Salesforce CRM Analytics, is all about. Fine. So firstly, you shouldn't get confused with the terms. So it's known as Salesforce CRM Analytics currently. Okay. And a few months back, it was known as Salesforce Tableau CRM. Fine. And very popularly, it's known as Salesforce Einstein Analytics. Fine. So many recruiting company still prefer to say it as Salesforce Einstein Analytics. Okay. But yeah, at the end of the day, let's not get confused with the terms. These are all same things. Huh? So sometimes I may say it as Salesforce CRM Analytics or Salesforce Einstein Analytics or Salesforce Tableau CRM. So don't get confused. It's all the same. So firstly, this is a separate product of Salesforce. This product needs to be purchased by any organization. And through Salesforce, we have a free org. So through a trailer, you get a free org. This is the link for that free org. So I am pasting this in the chat window over here. So through this link, you can actually create your free Salesforce Einstein Analytics org. Okay. So you can give your name, last name, your personal email address, your role you can give as developer. Okay, you can give any company name, country, postal code, and your username should be in this format, that is name at yourcompany.com. For example, for my case, it will be Avinash, okay, at let's say abc.com, something like that. Okay, so that's the way you have to give your username. Once you give that, one link will be shared in your personal email ID, and if you click on that link, you will be able to create your org. Okay, so do save your username and password when you kind of create it. And currently this is the landing page you will land up in once you have that org. So this is basically the Salesforce page, a normal Salesforce page, and this is the app launcher. So once you click on the app launcher, and if you click on Analytics Studio, you get to see this whole screen. And of course over here, if you go to the browse, you will get to see this particular sections. And here, this is basically the app section. So app is nothing but your folder. So any kind of data sets, lenses, it gets stored in a particular app, or dashboards, it gets stored in a particular app. And that app is something you get to see over here. It's like a folder at the end of the day. Okay. So in Einstein Analytics, we deal with two layers. Fine. So there's two layers which we deal with. So one is your data layer. Okay. So in your data layer, we have mainly the data flows and recipe, and another one is your designer layer. Okay, where basically we have the data sets, fine, lenses, and dashboards, of course. Okay, another data layer side, we have the data flow, the recipes, fine. So just like any analytics tool, the Einstein analytics also works on the ETL approach. Okay. So what is this ETL approach all about? It's basically is the extract, transform, and load approach. Okay. So that's what ETL approach is all about: extract, transform, and load. So Einstein analytics, if you come to this data manager, so there are two ways in which you can access the data manager. One is by clicking over here. Another is if you just go to this particular thing, you can click on this data manager. Fine. So now in this data manager, this is the new UI. It has been a couple of months since they have created this new UI for the data manager, and this is the old UI. I still prefer this, the old UI, but yeah, this is the new UI, and I think slowly we have to get used to this UI as well, including me. So from here, there are one section called connect section. So at first, we kind of said that we need to extract the data. So this is where you can extract your data. Okay. For example, in my Salesforce, let's have through the app launcher, if I click on the sales app, so on the sales app, I have something called as the leads object, for example. Okay. So now let's say I want to view all the leads. Okay. So let me first check how many leads are there in the first place for me. So if I click on here, let me go to developer console. Fine. So if I go to my developer console, so through the backend in the developer console, I can check the number of leads which I have. Okay. So let's say if I click on the, or I think I have this lead object here. So let's say if I search for name and ID and name, and let me query this. So as you can see, I have a total of 48 records of lead. Okay. So now this is something which we can check in the Einstein analytics as well. So first of all, we need to extract the data. So the first process is through the connect tab, you have this connect called SFTC local. And here I have a few more orgs, which is nothing but an external connector for me over here. Okay. But this is your local connection. Whenever you see this Salesforce written inside, right? This is your local connection, which means your data is getting pulled from that particular org where your Einstein analytics is installed, or you have the product of Einstein analytics. So in my case, it is this one. So here we have different objects, as you can see. Okay. And here you can of course connect to data. You can always, for example, the connections which I have, you are going to see it over here. Okay. But in your case, I think you will have only this box and this box, the SFTC local. So if you click on the add connection, you can add the Salesforce external connector. Fine. And of course, you can also have, you can connect with Marketing Cloud, Heroku, Google BigQuery. Okay. So SAP HANA, AWS. Okay. Tableau, you can connect with the Tableau online connector as well. Okay. SAP HANA Cloud connector. So there are different kind of systems through which you can connect as well. In every system, the concept basically remains the same, where you have to provide certain credentials. Okay. So certain credentials needs to be provided. Once that is done, it gets connected to this particular Einstein analytics connect server. Fine. So over here, I have something called as lead. Okay. So if I search for lead over here, so this is the object which is connected, and there are certain fields which I am pulling in. As you can see, I'm pulling in the lead ID, the full name, company, country. So if I click on continue, these are all the fields which you can see. Fine. So now, first of all, let's say if I create a new record of lead right now. Okay. Let's say I give this particular name only, Shoaib Sheikh. Okay, let me give any company name and let me click on save. So I've created a new lead which means now if I refresh this grid, it should show me 49, right? So here you can see there are 49 records now. Okay. So from here, at first I have to run this connect. Okay. So basically Einstein Analytics will only, you don't get real time data in Einstein Analytics. Fine. So in Salesforce CRM Analytics, sorry. In Salesforce CRM Analytics, you don't get to see the data real time. Okay. But you can get the data close to real time. Fine. So that is one thing by scheduling. So through the option of scheduling, you can always get the data close to it, which means if you create any records in your Salesforce org, okay, you have to compulsorily run the connect. If you don't run the data sync, then it won't give you the data which you have just created. Okay. So instantly, if you create any record, you won't be able to see the data instantly on your dashboard. You can of course bring it close to real time by scheduling. There's an option called schedule. Through scheduling, you can actually bring it close to real time. Okay. You can run every 15 minutes. So the minimum gap you can expect is every 15 minutes. Okay. So that's the minimum which you can see. Let's say if you created a record, fine. And the maximum you need to wait could be 15 minutes. Okay. And that's the thing. So here I have to first run this connect. So once I run the connect, there is something called as run full sync and run incremental sync. So run full sync means you are running from scratch, the beginning, everything is getting run for that particular object. When you say incremental sync, it means, let's say I ran this particular sync yesterday itself. So from yesterday till today, of course, because of the sync, all the records till yesterday was brought in over here. But from yesterday to today, whatever in this time gap, some records got created. To bring those record, I can run the incremental sync. Okay. For now, let me run the full sync. Okay. So now once I run this full sync, so this is your data monitor. This monitor is that particular part where you can track the progress of syncs, data flow, recipe, and other data jobs. Okay. This is that section is known as the monitor. Fine. And you need to always click on this refresh button to check the latest status. Fine. So currently it ran successfully over here. Now, once I have established that sync, the next part is to extract the data. Now, there are two ways to do it. One is the data flow and another one is the recipe. Okay. So as you can see here, currently I have this button of create recipe. For the data flow section, I don't have that button. So this data flow will eventually be deprecated. So in a few upcoming release, maybe they are going to deprecate this data flow. Fine, which means you are not going to use the data flows anymore. Okay. But I have some particular data flows already. So I can just open and maybe perform that operation for now. So let's say I want to bring the lead right now. So over here you have many nodes. So through this SFTC digest node, you can bring the data from your local org. So once I click over here, let's say I give it as demo lead. Okay. And from this source object, let me select lead. And from this select field, let's say I select the first name, the ID. So whatever fields I'm going to select, I'm going to bring those over here. And let me click on create. So once I click on create, one particular node you see right now, and that node needs to be registered. So I click on this and let me just give the same link. So register node basically helps you to create a particular data set. Okay, so it will be demo lead. Okay, so source node means the previous node through which I want to connect this particular register node. So once I click on create, you can see this got created. I have the SFTC digest which is bringing the lead records, and I have created this SFTC register. So from the lead I'm bringing all these records. Okay, so now let me click on update, and let me just click on run right now. So once I run this, and once it runs successfully, one particular data set will be registered through this particular name. So let me just click on run the data flow, and let me go to the data monitor. It's saying failed. Let's see what is the error. Something went wrong while executing. Error invalid extract field first name. Invalid extract field first name. Okay, so probably in the leads, I think I don't have this particular first name enabled. Okay, or is it got enabled right now? I think it got enabled right now, the first name. Let me check the error once again. Something went wrong. Error accessing sync dataset. Invalid extract field name first name. Okay, let me go to this particular thing, and let's say instead of first name, let me just select the name as of now. Okay, let me select the name. Okay. And let me click on save. Okay, so it's saying failed once again. It's saying city name. Okay, invalid extract field name city. So let me make it very minimum fields. Okay, so let's say I select only the ID and name as of now. Fine. So this is the status. Only if a data flow runs successfully or a recipe runs successfully, you will get to see the data set. Then only the creation of data set happens. Other than that, if it fails, you will always get to see the reason over here. They give you the message why it is failing. Okay, you will get to see that reasons. Okay, now it runs successfully. So now let me open this particular demo lead. So here you can search for this data set right now. Okay, in the Einstein section. And now if I open this, you see the number of records is right now 49. Okay, the same thing which we got over here. If you see 49, which means all the records are getting pulled in. Fine. And of course over here you can bring other bars. Let's say if you want to see in terms of name, you can just see in terms of names over here. Okay, and yeah, currently I didn't bring any measure field. So in here we deal with three types of data. Okay, we deal with three types of data, and those are measures, dimensions, and dates. Okay, fine. So this is the way you can actually, this is basically your designer layer. This is the way you can view the datas. Okay, you can view in terms of chart format, you can view in terms of table format. Okay, and whichever way you want to. There are different kind of chart section as well, the way you want it. Let's say if I go to the bar section, let me bring in the full name. So however you want to view, you can view it in a different charts. Okay, this is all the representation. Fine. So now Once that is done, you can also apply filters. Let's say if you want to uh, filter down to certain names, you can do that over here as well. Okay, so this is your design area, which gives you many kind of accesses. Okay, so of course once that is done, then you can create a dashboard, which is the ultimate designer layer, which is the ultimate purpose. So I can click on this dashboard. I can go for a blank dashboard, and there are many widgets over here on the left side if you see. Okay, so let's say I just name it as something called as leads dashboard. Fine. Now you can build that dashboard. So let's say I name it as lead dashboard over here. Fine. And I can bring filters. So there are many things over here. I can bring charts, I can bring table. Okay, I can bring this text numbers. Repeater is a new feature which came up. Link. There are many kind of widgets which provides, and then you can create the beautiful dashboard. Okay, for now let's say I have this demo lead, and let's say I just take the full name. Okay, and let's say I take this particular chart over here. Fine. Okay, and let me just take the full name as well. So now based on this filter, if I click on preview based on this particular thing, let's say if I select this, I can see this names. Okay, and based on the other field, I can see this name. So this is a very simple dashboard which I built. But yeah, this is the ultimate designer layer of building dashboard. So that's how the process works. At first, you always has to run the sync, fine, in the data manager for that particular object, so that you get the data. Okay, the recent data. And after that, you have to kind of transform it through data flow or recipe. Here I haven't done much. I have just created one particular SFTC digest, and I just registered that. Okay, and then once that data set is created, I ensure that the data set is being brought in over here in the dashboard. Okay, so this is what Salesforce Tableau CRM is all about. As you can see, it is related to playing around with the data and bringing the data as a dashboard. So this is very beneficial for any management team who wants to see certain things. So for example, I can show you certain dashboard which I have built it over here itself. So this was one dashboard which I've built with the help of a trailhead. So like here, if you see, there's a particular link where if I open this, it's getting me redirected to a new dashboard. Okay, then again there's a particular link. If I click on that, it's redirecting me to a new dashboard. Okay, then I see all these KPIs over here, and then there's a filter. I can filter it down to closed it, and there's a filter over here as well. So let's say I want to see, as you can see here, you can see all these charts: amount by op, amount by industry, amount by states. Okay, and let's say this is also linked. If I click on show details, how you can see, right, how this table is popping up. If I click on hide details, it is being hidden, and if I click on show details, this table is popping up. Okay, so in this way you can build around with dashboard and play around with it. Let's say I want to see all the amount by industry for closed lots. So once I click on this closed lots, these are all the amount by industry I see for this particular stage closed lots. For the industry technology, it's the highest. Okay, then amount by op. So for any particular opportunity who are in this stage closed loss, what is the particular amount which is the highest, I can see that over here. And for this closed loss, I can see and drill down. So here you also have the option to see it on your Salesforce record itself. So for example, if I click on this open record, okay, you will see for this particular record, my stage will be closed lost. Fine. So let's go over here, and as you can see here, it is closed lost. Okay, similarly, if I open the next record as well, next opportunity, that is, so if I click on open record, you get to see it is in closed lost as well. Okay, so this is one feature. Through configure action, you can actually open the records as well as you can perform certain tasks. For example, if you instantly, if you want, you can perform this task as well. Okay, so in this way you can build dashboards. And let's say if you want to go to certain other dashboard products dashboard. Okay, so if you click on this link, you can go it over there. Currently I think it's not working for me, but yeah, this is the way you can also redirect to another link, just like we did it over here. Okay, so yeah, in this way we can build many dashboards and all. So on a high level, this is what the Salesforce CRM Analytics is all about. Fine. So any question you have?
So there is also a platform called Tableau. So that
Mhm.
one is similar to this, or they both are same?
No, Tableau is different. Of course, Salesforce have acquired Tableau, but the concepts, or what to say, the learnings which you have related to Tableau, that's a separate thing, and this is a separate thing.
And do we need to know coding? There is some coding part in it.
No, there's no coding. However, there's something called as SAQL, which we will understand. So, I think you must be aware of this concept of SQL, right?
Query
So,
language.
similar, yeah, SQL. So it's a database query language. So similarly, you have something called as SAQL, which is known as the Salesforce Analytics Query Language. Okay. Of course, currently you have this feature of switching to SQL as well. Okay. Some difference in behavior exists when you switch to SQL. Okay. So of course, I'm not comfortable with this SQL part, but yeah, this is the SAQL, Salesforce Analytics Query Language, similar to SQL only for fetching the data. So to fetch the data, what is basically the code which works around in the backend? That is something you have to be aware of. So this is the maximum of coding you can say, and there is something related to binding also, which is related to the concept of JSON. So whenever I open any dashboard, right, and if you press Control plus C, you get to see this code, which is your JSON code. Okay, so a bit of idea of JSON code will be helpful. However, no need to worry. There's no coding involved. Okay, so yeah, except for this parts, knowing a bit of advanced SQL and a little bit on the bindings part, maybe. Okay. Yeah,
So it also must be having the option of fetching data from different clouds, like Salesforce cloud. We can marketing cloud. We can fetch data of customers who are buying, which group of customers buying which type of products. We can play with the data.
yeah, absolutely. As I told you, here you have this connect, right? So this is my local connection, and this is my Salesforce external connection. Okay. So of course, like Salesforce external connection means this is a completely different org of Salesforce, and through that I'm pulling in this data. Okay. So similarly, you can also pull in data from your marketing cloud as well. But yeah, for that you need to give the requisite credentials. Fine. Once you give that, you can pull in the data from your marketing cloud. In my particular sessions, if you join it, I will be only showing you for the Salesforce external connector. Okay, how we can join the Salesforce external connector, because that is something I'm aware of. But at the end of the day, you can connect with any cloud as you mentioned, or any external system, and you just have to give the credentials properly. That's it.
So it depends on the company which type of data it is going to pull, like
Yeah,
AWS.
you can filter it. No, you can pull in data from marketing cloud others as well. And let's say if you want to restrict the data, there are certain kinds of data only which you want to pull in, so that can also be done through this filter option. So let's say if I click over here. Okay, this has got extend. Let's say if I click over here, this is my Heroku database, for example. And if I click on continue, you have certain kind of filters. So you can give the filters to restrict the kind of data which you want to pull in from other external system. Okay, and those kind of data will only get pulled in. Okay.
So can you tell about the career path? Suppose a person starting from scratch, uh, what will the career path of him?
So basically, in Salesforce Analytics, there's as I told you, it's basically related to the data analyst. So basically, if you want to go into the data analytics career path, so I think this is one of the useful tool to learn. And going forward, you can learn much on the discovery part as well, which involves the AI and ML part of Salesforce. So yeah, that is what you can say is related to the career. Currently, this is of course growing in the market. Okay, and hopefully there will be a lot of future scope. And if you want to learn a bit more in details, then one thing what you can do is, once you go to this analytics studio, right, you have something called as a learning center. Okay, so here you will get the complete resource, like starting from the data integration, the data exploration, app building, adding intelligence. Okay, as you can see how we can discover the deep insights, okay, into your data through machine learning and AI. Then the extended learning, you have the learning map, the developer resource. Fine. We have a community also, the Trailblazer community, where any kind of questions or doubts you have, you can always ask them. Okay. Then some popular topics and all are there. Fine. And whatever new release, I mean whatever new features came, those kind of things you can read also from here. Fine. So of course this is more on a deep technical level if you want to understand. But yeah, as I told you, this is growing. And especially the intelligence part, the discovery part is something we started growing from last year. And yeah, there are a lot of future capabilities and future potentials.
So which companies are using this product?
See, there are a lot of it's completely on the clients. Currently, of course, there are a lot of companies who are actually using this. Of course, a few years back, I would say a couple of years back, it was difficult to get chance into an MNC if you wanted to make a career in Salesforce Einstein. But yeah, currently a lot of MNCs are actually recruiting candidates for Salesforce Einstein. And yeah, it's a positive sign. So almost all the companies, I would say, at uh, current scenario. Anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. So yeah, that's it from my end. And yeah, thank you for attending this demo session. So yeah, bye bye.
Thanks, sir.